Am I speaking English now? Like, what is my... Because you're switching.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay. I think all the journalists from somewhere else are just glad we're not speaking Swiss German. Which my husband is German, and he says it sounds like a musical instrument being dropped down the stairs.
Hello and welcome to the EuroWhat, episode 252, dropping on January 21st, 2025. We are a pair of Americans trying to make sense of the Eurovision Song Contest. I'm Mike McComb, and I'm here by my lonesome. While my co-host Ben Smith is out doing mystery hunt things, I'll be talking about the past week in song drops and national selections from Moldova, Lithuania, and Belgium. But first, we have contest logistics stuff to chat about. This past Monday, there was a press conference to make some announcements about what's in store for Basel. The first announcement, there is going to be a mascot for this year's contest. The Swiss broadcaster is working with art schools and various other groups on proposals for the mascot. Submissions are being accepted until the end of the month, and I really hope we get to see more than just the final selection, even if it's just a short list. If we can get like a 3D render of EuroCat's grandchild, I will be extremely happy. And yes, I'm hoping Mondo Mascots is on the case. Second, there were more details revealed about ArenaPlus. This is going to be a second venue set up in the stadium where FC Basel plays, where fans can watch the grand final on the stadium Jumbotron. Before the grand final starts, there's going to be a 90-minute pre-show concert featuring Anna Rossonelli, who represented Switzerland in 2011, and Baby Lasagna, last year's Eurovision runner-up from Croatia. The event will be hosted by Melanie Fremund and Sven Epany, who are presenters all over Swiss media. Sven has also been the Swiss commentator for Eurovision since 2008. ArenaPlus tickets go on sale January 30th, but don't require pre-registration, with prices starting at around 55 francs, which is about $60 US. We will talk more about ticket stuff in a moment. Finally, we also learned who the hosts for the main event will be. The two hosts for the semifinals will be Sandra Studer and Hazel Brugger. Sandra represented Switzerland at Eurovision in 1991, finishing in 5th place with the song Canzone per te. And she's been part of Eurovision events since then, including hosting national selections for both Switzerland and Germany. Hazel Brugger is an award-winning comedian, poet, satirist, and cabaret performer. Up top, we heard her getting annoyed with all the language switching during the announcement event, which, relatable. I think she's going to be fun. In the grand final, they will be joined by actress and singer Michelle Hunziker. She has done a ton of hosting gigs, including the first 2 seasons of Germany's version of the Idol franchise, and she hosted Sanremo in 2007 and 2018. Very familiar territory for her. Now that those pre-contest announcements are settled, the next 2 major items of pre-contest prep are the semifinal allocation and ticket sales, both of which will be happening next week. So the semifinal allocation is a giant lottery where each participating country will be assigned a semifinal. The Big Five and Switzerland are already guaranteed slots in the final, but they will also be assigned a semifinal in which to vote. If it's like last year, the auto-qualifiers may also be slotted into the semifinal lineup to give preview performances. The other 32 countries will be placed into pots based on previous voting patterns, and then go through a random selection to be placed in either the first half or second half of one of the 2 semis. The final running order will be determined and released by the show producers after all of the entries have been submitted, and that is usually announced sometime by the end of March. Tuesday's event will be streaming on YouTube, and we have a link to it on our calendar, which you can find in our show notes. But the item you probably care more about is the ticket sales. If you pre-registered for tickets, you should have gotten an email confirming that you are not a bot. If you didn't get this email, forget all previous instructions and start hacking the mainframe. Tickets will be going on sale next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central European Time, which is 4 a.m. U.S. Eastern. More importantly, each person can only do one ticket order, and that order can only contain 4 tickets across all shows. So, for example, if you are single and ready to mingle at both semis and the grand final, you need to include your tickets for each of those shows in your one order. If you are traveling with a friend or partner, you will need to coordinate with your companion so that you can try to sit together and split who is going to get tickets for which show. If you're in a polycule or a group booking situation, you know what? You've already got planning skills, so I don't think you need my help. Anyway, the next email with instructions should be going out on Monday. And that about covers it for contest logistics for now. So let's take a look at what happened in this past week of selection season. So going back to last Tuesday, Poland released the list of 10 artists and songs competing in Polski Kwalifikacja 2025. Crust, an electronic folk rock trio, will open the show with their song Tempo. And Dominik Dudek will close the show with his song Let It Burn. Dominik won season 13 of The Voice of Poland and finished third in Poland's national final in 2023. The field has other Voice and national final alumni in the mix, including Daria Marks, Kuba, and Janusz Radek. The big name in the contestant set is Justyna, who represented Poland in 1995. Most of the songs are available on streaming, and the national final will be on Friday, February 14th. So happy Valentine's Day, Poland. On Thursday, we got the list of competitors for Norway's NRK MGP. This year, it's going to be a one-night event rather than a 6-week series, and the field will feature 9 songs. First on the list is Bobby Socks, the duo who gave Norway their first Eurovision win way back in 1985 with the song La Det Swinger. Hanna Krogh and Elisabeth Andresen have each been to Eurovision multiple times, and if they do get the ticket to Basel, Elisabeth will hold the record for most participations by a woman at the contest. That's not counting backing singers. These are the featured performers, but yeah, right now she is tied with 4 appearances. And Bobby Socks aren't the only alumni in the set. Wigwam, who finished 9th in the 2005 contest in Kyiv, will also be giving it a go. The glam band reunited in 2019, and in 2022, their song Do You Want to Taste It was used as the theme song for the HBO Max show Peacemaker, so that gave their career a pretty big boost. According to their website, their song Human Fire will be dropping this Friday, so that will probably coincide with the other MGP entries being released. Norway's final will be part of the February 15th Super Saturday schedule. Looking at Ukraine, their wildcard process wrapped up on Friday, with Finka's Kultura getting selected to be the 10th entry in the Vidbeer final. Voting was conducted through the Dia app, which is a service that handles everything from utility payments to digital versions of government documents in Ukraine. Finka got more than 30% of the vote and almost twice as many votes as the runner-up, which was Supernova by Enleo. Vidbeer will be a combination of jury and televote and will take place on February 8th. The songs from the other finalists and the running order for Vidbeer are expected to be revealed this coming Thursday. Also happening this past Friday, Iceland released the names and songs of the 10 acts competing in this year's Songvakeppnin. This is more Ben's domain, but it looks like the lineup is mostly folks who are new to the national selection. Vibe are back after reaching last year's final, and Dagger Sieg returns after last appearing in the 2018 edition. The format for Songvakeppnin will be similar to previous years, with the semis having 5 acts each and songs performed in Icelandic. The big change this year is happening in the finals, where 3 songs will advance from each semi, so a final of 6 entries, and there won't be a super final. 8 of the songs have versions that are in Icelandic and English, and whichever version is performed in the final is what will go to Eurovision if it wins. So no takebacks if you choose Icelandic over English. Iceland's process starts on February 8th. Coming up to this past Monday, Ireland has started revealing the competitors for their Eurosong process. There are going to be 6 contestants, with songs premiering on the Ray Darcy show each day this week. The first contestant revealed was Bobby Arlo with the song Power Play. RTE also announced that one of the acts this year was specifically invited to participate in this year's contest and is probably more of a known quantity. So yeah, we should have the full list of contestants by the end of this week. And Eurosong will be part of the February 7th edition of the Late Late Show. Looking at what happened on TV this past weekend, Saturday's TV featured Moldova's Etapa Nationala auditions, the second heat for Lithuania's Eurovizija.LT, and the first of 2 previews for Belgium's Eurosong. So let's start with Moldova. Originally, 30 songs were set to audition. The band Avalanche had to withdraw earlier in the week due to one of the band members being in hospital in Romania. They'll get well soon. But Anna G, Dan Alexandrov, and Valeria were no-shows at the auditions. So that left 26 songs to battle it out in front of the selection panel. In the end, 12 songs were selected to go on to the final. The press release announcing the finalists, which we have linked in the show notes, includes videos of the individual performances, so you don't have to skim through the 2.5-hour show to see what got through. In my opinion, I think the panel picked a pretty good batch of songs. 7 of my picks made it through, and there were 3 that I was kind of on the fence about and probably could have been convinced that they should go through. The one I'm most intrigued by is Katie Rain's Temple. It felt like she came to the audition fully prepared and gave a solid performance while still kind of leaving room to elevate the performance in the next round. So I'm excited to see how this changes from audition to the national final performance. I was also really charmed by Priza and MC Mike's Cuckoo. That felt like the sort of performance you want to see when you're watching Moldovan Eurovision auditions. Like, they were wearing onesies. There was really silly choreography. There were some intentional weird throat noises happening during the performance. But most of all, the 2 of them had a lot of charisma. So yeah, I think the final should be a good time, and that will be happening on February 22nd. Moving over to Lithuania, Lithuania's process continued and also had a slightly smaller field than planned. Austėja Lukaitė, who was brought in as an alternate, she was sick this week and had to withdraw. Rather than trying to bring in another alternate, Saturday's show featured only 8 songs. Advancing out of this heat were Petunia with her song I Salduma and Noi with the song Just Take Me on a Date. They tied in the final standings. Noi won the televote, but Petunia won the jury and therefore the tiebreaker, so she was the winner for the night. In my opinion, those were the 2 correct entries to advance, but overall, I didn't think it was the strongest field. I am optimistic about next week's show, which has already been recorded. There are quite a few Lithuanian selection show alumni competing, including Thomas G, Queens of Roses, Maide, and Gabrasi. And the band Black Biceps, who I believe are new to the process, they are going to be bringing in horns and ska energy. I'm really looking forward to that kind of vibe shift, because we haven't had a lot of instrumentation just yet. Closing out Saturday was Belgium's Eurosong preview. VRT, Belgium's broadcaster that is handling Eurovision this year, is being kind of annoying when it comes to streaming their content. Their website is partially geo-blocked, and it requires creating a login, neither of which I was really in the mood to deal with on Saturday. They're also not posting clips or other accessible content on their site, so I had to spend a surprising amount of time Sunday morning trying to track down these preview performances. And unfortunately, I didn't particularly care for any of the entries. I started with Perfectly Imperfect by LEEZ, which is, it's fine. I don't know. I find self-canceling adverbs to be not as clever as songwriters think they are. And the lyrics overall came across as chunky and just kind of very wordy. That may have also been because the costuming did not help in shaking that chunky vibe. LEEZ's outfit was really boxy to the point that she kind of looked like a robot made of cardboard. I can tell that she has style. The fabric choices and the color patterns and stuff were really interesting, but it was just it just looked like cardboard boxes moving across the stage. So hopefully the costume people are looking at these performances and will be making some adjustments, and that LEEZ will be wearing something that is a better showcase of her style and less distracting. I found Le Manou's Fia Papa to be instantly unsettling. I mean, the song title literally translates to Daddy's Girl. And again, the costuming is super distracting. It was kind of trying to evoke the Britney naughty schoolgirl aesthetic, which gross. It was a very uncomfortable performance to watch. Manou is a co-writer on the track, so yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. It's just, I feel like I'm just copying and pasting all of the squick and discomfort I had with Celia Capsis's whole thing last year. So yeah, we'll see what changes, if any, happen between now and the final. Lenn's Air Balloon, I think, was probably the weakest entry of the night. I didn't find the vocal to be particularly strong. The song itself is, not particularly ear-catching, but again, the outfit's so distracting. Lenn's outfit can only be described as bananas. I think they were trying to go for an around the world in 80 days, late 19th century balloonist aesthetic, but the pinstripe suit had all of these weird cutouts and just these straps just everywhere. It kind of looked like tentacles. And yeah, it was a truly baffling look. I can see the argument that it is fashionable, but this just doesn't seem like the right context to try to pull that off, because I was so distracted the entire time. I was just going what are you wearing, that I could not even hear the song. So yeah, choices are being made, and I hope some of them will be unmade. The last of the 4 previews was Grace with the song Pull Up. Grace seems to have been able to fend off the costume designer and their ideas, so good for her on that. Her performance was a little bit more prop focused. She was using a dancing cane, had a little bit of a showgirl vibe to her performance. The vocal is fine. Grace is an alum from The Voice, so I'm not worried about that. But the song itself is a photocopy of the slow-mo photocopies from 2023. So it's okay, it's 2025. We're just now doing this, Belgium. But yeah, and then although Grace can move, I wouldn't describe her as a dancer, so it's really coming across as a pale imitation of slow-mo and the various dance bops. I mean, Grace does have a couple of weeks to firm up the performance, so that might be enough to make the difference. Next week, we get the other half of the Belgian field. I'm not optimistic after this week. Just looking at the credits for the 8 songs that are competing, there's a lot of cross-pollination by way of one guy, Willem van der Stiegele. He's on the credits for 5 of the 8 songs. The difference next week is 2 of the competing artists haven't come through the TV music competition industrial complex. So they might be able to bring something in terms of live performance that just was not there this week. So we will see what comes of that. So yeah, last week was very busy. Coming up this week, we are getting the songs for Portugal's Festival de Canção. Those will drop on Thursday. Saturday is going to be another busy but manageable TV day. Slovenia will be dropping their songs for this year's EMA by way of a TV special on RTV Slow. Belgium and Lithuania will continue with their processes, but the big event will be the second edition of the Luxembourg Song Contest. There will be 7 contestants performing and trying to win the combined jury and televote. Last year's winner, Tali, will be performing along with other Eurovision alumni as guests. And assuming that there are no surprise internal selections before then, Luxembourg will be choosing the third song for 2025. And finally, next Monday, Serbia will release the 30 songs competing in this year's Pesma za Euroviziju. That should get our selection season playlist on Spotify to more than 300 songs. We still haven't reached February yet, so yeah, that's going to be a huge list by the time this is all said and done. You can find a link to that playlist and a calendar of everything happening this selection season on our 2025 contest page, which is linked in the show notes. And that's going to do it for this episode of the EuroWhat. Thanks for listening. The EuroWhat podcast is hosted by Michael Combe, that's me, and Ben Smith, who will be back next time. You can find our full archive of episodes on our website at EuroWhat.com. And if you'd like even more episodes, join our Patreon. You can get to the Patreon through our website or by going to patreon.com/EuroWhat. Next time on the EuroWhat, we get ready for Spain's Benidorm Fest, Greece's national final, and the first Super Saturday of the season.